In this part, we're going to aim to allow a user to enter a message in here along with their name as well, and have this sent to our Node.js server and then insert subsequently into our MongoDB database. So the first thing that we need to do is a couple of things just to help us out along the way. By the way, we're going to be doing all of this inside of our page. We're not going to be doing this in an external file, just simply because for the purpose of this video, it's just going to make it easier for us to look at the elements and work out things. So this is obviously best suited in an external JavaScript file once it goes into production, or even during development. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a function here, and this is going to basically wrap all of our functionality. So that's basically it, just so we don't have any globals anywhere. What I'm going to do is create a useful function that's going to be called getNode, and this is just going to return a query selector based on what we pass through to it. All this means is that we don't have to use jQuery to go ahead and select, values or anything. So this isn't going to work on all browsers. It's not going to work on earlier versions of IE. It's entirely up to you whether you want to use a library for support. I'm just doing this just because, we're not really massively interested in browser compatibility as such. We're, learning the fundamentals behind how this works. So this can obviously be tweaked to work cross-browser. So I've created this getNode function, and this is going to return document.querySelector, and that's just going to be the string that we pass through, or the selector rather that we pass through to it. So we now want to go ahead and get the required nodes. And what's this going to be? Well, we need to select all of this stuff because we need to know, we need the messages area to be able to input messages. We need the text area and the name. But let's go ahead and just focus on the text area and the name. So text area equals get node chat name. So we just pass the class in there, and we're going to say chat name equals get node dot chat name. Oops, sorry, that one is chat text area. Okay, so now that we've done this, we can go ahead and actually access these elements and go ahead and do what we want with them. But more importantly, we want to go ahead and actually try a connection to our server. So let's go ahead and try that, and we'll catch any errors along the way, because if this fails and we can't connect, we can't really do anything. So we want to go ahead and display this to the user eventually. So we're going to create a variable called socket, and that's going to be equal to io.connect. Remember exactly what we did in the console earlier, and this is going to be http 127.0.0.1, and that is on port 8080. So that's that done. And we're going to catch the error, and this is basically just going to set status to warn user. We haven't actually created this functionality yet, and we won't do for a while, so we may as well just comment that out for now. And what we then want to do is down here check if socket isn't undefined. And if it's not undefined, I'm just going to console log OK. So let's go ahead over here and just refresh, and it says OK. So I've put my console to the right hand side just so it's easier to see. But yeah, that's OK now. We don't need to worry about that. It's fine. It works. So what do we want to do inside of here instead? Well, what we want to do is attach an event listener to our text area. So let's just say listen for key down. So this is going to be where we actually send our message. So here's the sort of run through. I'm going to go ahead and type a message in here as well as enter my name in here. When I'm inside of here and I hit enter, what I want that to do is detect that it is the enter key pressed. I want to have the exception of holding the control key, which is going to let me go the shift key, which is going to let me go multiple line. And when I hit just enter on its own, that's then going to send that to the server, along with the name up here as well, which is why we've selected the name. So when we listen for key down, we just say text area. Remember, we've already got this node selected up here. We want to say add event listener. And for the event listener, we want this to be key down. Now, the function, the callback here, is going to store an event or return an event. And we want to go ahead and say var self equals this, just make things easier for ourselves. And we also want to say name equals chat name dot value, because we also want to obtain the value from the name text area or text input field. So now what we want to do is check the event for the enter key. So I'm just going to test this out, and this is a good tip, event dot which. So which is basically which key is pressed down. So when I go ahead over here and I type in A, for example, it gives me the numerical equivalent of which key I press. If I hit enter, it comes up with 13. So we know that we can check for key 13. So here I'm going to say if event.which equals 13 and event.shift key. Now shift key is a property which is going to be true or false, and it basically tells us if the shift key has been held down. So I'm going to say that, but I'm also now just going to return to my console log of event, which is going to show us this. So let me just test this out. So I'm going to click in here and I'm going to press enter, and you can see here that we've got shift key false here, and we've also got key code 13 and also which 13 as well. So shift key false. Now I'm going to hold the shift key and press enter, and we've got shift key and true. So that also says 13 for the which because we pressed enter as well. So what this is basically going to allow us to do is then, if we get rid of that, we're going to say console.log send. So this is when the data is going to be sent. So if I'm in here and I type hello and just hit enter, that's going to send that data. If I'm in here and I type hello and then I hold down the shift key and hit enter, we don't send anything. And I'm going to type hello there again, shift and enter again, and hello. Then I'm just going to hit enter on its own and it says send. So that's basically how we can allow users to do multiple lines in the text area. So if this is the case, what do we want to do? Well, we want to go ahead and actually send this data. So how do we do this? Well, we already looked at socket.emit, the emit method on the socket that we've already loaded in here, using socket.io obviously. So we want to go ahead and say socket.emit, and we want to pass in an object here after we specify the name. Remember, the input is the name that I'm listening for here. So we know this functionality works, but we're just listening for input. And this is just going to be an object. I'm going to pull this down just to make it a little bit easier to read. And we're going to say name is name. Remember, name is here. And we're going to say message self.value. Now we created self here, which refers to the actual text area, and value is the property which contains the text that's actually within this text area. So now what we're going to do is test this out. So let's go ahead and just pull over this here, make this a little bit smaller, just to see what we're doing. Okay, so this is our Node.js server. I'm going to type hello and hit enter. And you can see here, invalid. Oh, invalid, yes. We know it's invalid because we haven't entered a name. We will eventually pass this through to here, but for now, we just get the message inside of here. So Alex, hello, hit enter, and it says inserted. So we can now take a look over to our database. If I just pull this over, and there we go. So we've got Alex message hello. We've got this N character here, but this won't be a problem in future. Well, actually, no, this is fine. It doesn't really matter too much for now, but we'll be fixing all this up in a moment. So we now know that we can send data. I can send that again if I want to. Everything works fine. But the only thing that we're missing is the sort of ability, really, at this stage to let us know that the message has been sent, and also as well clear this field when we hit enter. Now we're not going to clear this field within, if we return to our code inside of here. The reason being is that basically what we don't want to do is clear it here, because if there's a problem, we don't want it to clear the field if we want to return the error, please enter your name. Also, I've just remembered that we need event.prevent default in here, and that's just going to prevent the default behavior for this key down. So if I was to type in Billy hello there, hit enter, and that goes ahead, or it should go ahead and send that. So let's just take a look. And let's just check this. Yeah, there we go. So that's been entered. That's absolutely fine. But what we're missing is obviously the ability to, say Alex test. I've hit enter. That's gone ahead and inserted, but it hasn't cleared this or passed back a status. So what we're going to do is in the next video, just focus on this status functionality. And this is going to come from Node.js itself as well. And that's just going to provide us the ability to clear this if it's been sent successfully, and also send back things like errors and things like that. So we'll go ahead and focus on that. That's a little bit boring, but then we'll get to the fun part and actually get some messages loaded through here so we can actually, start chatting on this.